I've always been one to swim against the grain, in my opinion. I think a lot of people think that, but for me, there's a couple of things that have come into vogue as of late that I feel are particularly nefarious and insidious in very subtle ways. And I, for one, am going to rebel against them. Find out more today on today's episode. And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is The Rebellion Begins. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's M-U-R-D-Y creative.co. Thank you to everyone who's supported us. I really appreciate it. And obviously, please, if you're interested in leather products, go check us out on our website. Well, for those of you who get our behind-the-scenes email, you may know kind of where I'm going to go with this a little bit for now, because that was the topic on Friday. For those of you who haven't signed up for our emails or who didn't get that particular email, you can go read about it on our website. If you go to the About, and then there is the company, and then there's the Behind the Scenes blog header, and it's all sorts of great stuff there, and I usually do a weekly thing. But this last week, my focus was on AI. And I'm going to not completely rehash that email because, well, most of you probably read it. But beyond that, I am going to expand on it a little bit and provide a little more context for the concerns that I have. First and foremost, artificial intelligence is not intelligence, and it should not be referred to as artificial intelligence. That's a misnomer. It's advanced search engines. And I know that doesn't sound as neat, and I know for those of you who've used ChatGPT, and I am one of those people, you may end up saying, well, it kind of seems like intelligence. And to think that means that that would degrade humans fundamentally. Now, I think it's important to understand my own thoughts on AI. And here's what I really think about it. It is a tool like a search engine, and it should be treated like a search engine. And we should think of it like a search engine. You wouldn't say thank you to Google when you Google something. You wouldn't be polite, right? And for those of you who are subscribed to the Rejoice Evermore Substack, Spencer Clavin just recently wrote a wonderful article that kind of got me thinking about this in the first place. I think it was titled Be Rude to Grok. I think was what it was called. It was Be Rude to Grok. I don't know for sure, but it was something along those lines. And he goes into a great philosophical, theological discussion about the idea that when you imbue your speech to a search engine or an artificial intelligence program with politeness, it seems harmless enough. It seems kind of banal in its own way, but how do I say this? It has a subtle effect on the way that you think of it. You treat it like a person. And when you treat it like a person, you degrade people and elevate the tool. You wouldn't say thank you to a hammer. You wouldn't say thank you to a calculator. So why would you say thank you to AI? It's not artificially intelligent. It's not actually intelligent at all. It has a vast repertoire of words, and it has trained on the vastness of the internet in what word is likely to be the correct next word. For those of you who don't understand how large language models work, what a great opportunity to learn. It's actually fascinating, and it's very interesting, and it comes through a really convoluted but clever history. And I recently spent a little time learning more about it and how large language models work fundamentally, but the very surface level understanding of it's pretty straightforward. And you should go watch more videos on how it works in complex because it's quite cool. But it comes from a training set of data. What you do, and the simplest analogy is squares and circles. So, and this is, by the way, where it actually started, with someone whose name is escaping me at the moment. That was the first founder of this concept. He was actually a psychologist, I believe, and he was teaching a very simple computer to distinguish between squares and circles. And the way he would do it was he provided the machine with a bazillion pictures of squares and circles, and he would tell it which one is a square and which one was a circle. And slowly but surely, the machine would start to figure out what pixels on the screen were most likely to be related to squares versus circles, and so on and so forth. And I'm simplifying for a great deal, but the short answer is that through this process of the training data, eventually the machine was able to basically distinguish between squares and circles by running the picture through, and it kicked out a percentage of likelihood that it was one or the other, and then it would pick, right? If it was 98% sure it was a circle, it would say that it's a circle. Now, it wasn't perfect, and large language models, if any of you have used them, they aren't perfect. Sometimes the words they put together are strange, and more importantly, the words they put together in a sentence actually may not be strange, but the result of the sentence, what it tells you, is not correct, right? It gets the construction of the sentence correct, but the logic of what the sentence is saying is wrong. Really, it's just an advanced search engine. It's just a more clever way of communicating with a computer what you want it to give back to you in the form of data. And as a tool for the purpose of search engines, it's actually pretty useful. And I don't think it's particularly harmful if you think of it like a search engine. If you are analyzing a large set of data, or you are trying to review the odd interactions between pieces of information that you've got in your database system, right? For us, a good example would be we get a lot of orders in, right? A large language model may be better suited to analyze, are there a specific type of order coming from this part of the world? Or do we see a disproportionately higher return of our ad spend in Ohio than we spend on our ad spend, right? Do we see a better result there, right? Little details like that, little odd collections of facts that come out of the data is really where AI is probably best suited, because it's able to convert the human way that we speak into a query language that fits better into a database model, right? That's the correct place for AI. AI is not a good tool for customer service. AI is not a good tool to develop your website design or to come up with your next great ad. Not because the tool isn't suited to do it, but because it's the wrong place for it. And here's my fundamental hypothesis. We should not be using AI to replace humans in areas where humans are the primary workers. And it's very in vogue for businesses to do that right now. And my reasoning is not because the tool can't do it or that it wouldn't make the company more profitable. My reasoning is because it's a terrible thing for us to do as a society. An AI chatbot right now, you can kind of determine who it is. If you're talking to an AI chatbot, you can kind of tell it's AI. Now, it's getting better and better, and most AIs can pass the Turing test if left to their own devices, which is a method by which you can tell whether a computer is, quote unquote, artificially intelligent. Now, that's, like I said, it's a flawed understanding of computers, but beyond that, humans can think. We have inner lives. We have our own thoughts. Computers do not. They are ones and zeros. They kick out results. And I think when we act as though computers can be artificially intelligent, we minimize the spark of the divine in each of us. We minimize what it means to be human. We minimize what it means to be intelligent. Humans are intelligent. Computers are not. So we should not be using computers to replace customer service agents. We should not be using computers to replace graphical artists. We should not be replacing web designers with AI. It's not a good fit, because what it does is it means there's a lot of people who no longer have work and who should have work. We should not replace retail workers or fast food workers with AI. For pragmatic reasons, I mean, beyond the philosophical reasons, beyond the theological reasons, the practical reasons basically say, okay, is it good for us as a society to take and remove all of the jobs that people can get as entry-level jobs to support themselves without having to have high levels of education or specialized training? And I know that there's kind of a bit of a Luddite thought that is coming through this. And Teddy Roosevelt very famously said he came down to the Panama Canal and saw that they were digging the Panama Canal with shovels. And he asked why they weren't using steam shovels. And they had said that it would, there would be a lot of people who wouldn't have jobs. And he said, well, then at that point, why don't we just give them all spoons? And that may not have actually happened, right? That's legend, right? But the point obviously stands, and he's making the point that he made, if he made it, was a good one, which is why would you use a poor tool when you can use a better tool? And that's a fair question, but there is an answer to it. And I think for me personally, the answer is we should not be using a tool like AI to replace humans when the work for humans is in and of itself the only real way that they can make a living. Now, businesses right now have had a lot of incentive to employ these tactics. And I'll admit, we use AI at the Murdy Creative Company through no choice or act of our own. And what I mean by that is the Facebook algorithm that determines who to show my ad to could very easily be categorized as some type of AI. Now, I don't actually think that's AI in the traditional sense of AI. I think it's a different type of algorithm that has a much more storied pedigree in the form of just true algorithms. And I would not consider that AI personally because it's not a large language model. That's not really what it is. But it is a form of algorithmic product placement, right? So there is areas that we've been using it in the past, right? But I will not be using AI to replace our customer service. I will not be using AI to replace our marketing creative, right? I'm going to be the one filming ads. I'm not going to have the computer just auto-generate pictures and images of our product. I'm not going to use AI to design our website and to auto-redesign the website, which is so prevalent. We're definitely not going to use AI for our third-party logistics, and we don't use third-party logistics. And all of those things, and I picked those examples on purpose, are tools that are being advertised to small business owners right now as a way to not only have fewer employees, but to not work very hard at anything. You don't buy. The machine buys from third-party manufacturers in China, and they deliver it to third-party warehouses. And the algorithm builds out your marketing content. Your AI builds out your marketing content from stock photos. And it runs the ads it thinks are best ads. And it'll design your website or redesign your website automatically. And then when customers reach out to chat, it auto-chats back to them. And you as the business owner don't have to do anything at all. And boy, that sounds like the road to hell to me. I get why it appeals to our sense of greed and our sense of leisure and our sense of sloth, but it should not be easy to run a business. In fact, it should be extremely difficult. Now, the good news is that the market will actually sort this out to some extent, because businesses that build themselves like that are easy to run, they're going to become a dime a dozen. They already are a dime a dozen on Amazon right now. Anytime you buy a product on Amazon, it's mostly coming from third-party manufacturers, direct to third-party warehouses, and being sold by a third party to you. And the good news is that anybody that can do that can also have other competitors that just spring up overnight, right? Part of the reason why Amazon has low prices is because it's commoditized that pipeline in a very real way. So the market will make it very difficult for these businesses to not have very robust and direct competition. However, I am curious if we're going to see tags on products in the future, the same way we see Made in USA. Let's say made without AI. And frankly, I may be one of the companies to do it. Because I am one of the people that the title of the podcast is The Rebellion Begins. I will be fighting against the use of AI in my business, especially AI to replace people. Areas where we already use search engine algorithms, areas where we already use programming language to determine things. Those are areas where AI fits. We're already doing it that way. But using AI to replace people, to fire people, that's going to lead to a dangerous long-term. You know what? Let's play out the long-term game of how this actually looks. But first, I want to give you the hint for the limited edition drop this week. The limited edition drop is Green Bison. And yes, you're going to want to see that one. Let's play out the logic. The very rich business owners, think Jeff Bezos and his ilk, will implement AI to fire vast majorities of people. AI will be first implemented in the jobs where it's easy to implement. Customer service, logistics, packing, anything like that. All AI will take that very easily, right? Anything graphic design based, basically anything that would be relatively straightforward to be done on a computer, AI will do that. And they'll implement these solutions and it'll save them a ton of money and they'll fire half their work staff. Because ironically, one of the areas that humans are really good at making jobs at is areas where humans need to interface with other humans. And if the AI can convincingly convince you that it's a human, well, those humans are expensive and they could be fired. So now we have an enormous group of people, many of whom have relatively basic levels of education, or frankly, that's not even true anymore, right? There's a lot of college degrees that I know, college graduates that I know who are working in customer service, even though they didn't need a degree to work in customer service because there's not that many jobs for them, right? So we're already dealing with this to some extent, but let's keep playing it out. So now all of a sudden we have a large group of people who don't have jobs that used to work in customer service. And apply that to graphical design, apply that to accounting, apply that to retail, apply that to fast food workers, right? That's a lot of people. Even things like teachers to some extent. I mean, as dystopian as it sounds, we're going to end up seeing a lot of jobs like teachers disappear. And the point that it will be made by those who are evangelizing doing this will be really quite good, which is we can create an educational program using AI that is more interactive, that gives your student the one-on-one teaching attention that they would like, that allows for them to ask genuine questions and get complicated responses, allows them to learn at their own pace, and doesn't get tired, doesn't snap at the students, doesn't have to grade papers. I mean, you can already see the pitch for it now, and to some extent, it wouldn't be a good idea if there wasn't some legs to it. And it is a good idea in one sense. It's very insidious in another. And for those of you out there who are saying, well, my job couldn't be done by AI, just hold on to that thought as long as you possibly can. Really. But let's just say all of those different groups suddenly weren't able to have jobs anymore in their current fields because AI took all of them. That'd be a lot of people. And so those people would flock to the few jobs that would be remaining that wouldn't be able to be done by AI. And the point is that those jobs, the reason why they couldn't be done by AI is because they're very complicated and difficult to do. I mean, it's going to be hard for an AI to replace a plumber. But what do we do as a society? There's going to be some people, I think it falls into three categories. I mean, there may be more, but I think it kind of falls into three categories roughly. The ultra rich who own these businesses that implement the AI are going to get even more rich. They're going to get unbelievably rich because they're going to save a lot of money by not hiring people. I think there's going to be a permanent serf class who will constantly be fighting for very low wages for the very few jobs that exist because those will be the only jobs that will be available, and they will fight for them. And because there will be such an enormous labor glut created by AI, the pay will be very low. And then I think the third group of people are going to be the people who basically just check out of society altogether. They build their own family hobby farms, and they just don't really participate in the economy as all. Maybe they buy a few things rarely, but they just don't participate in the economy. They do subsistence farming and hobby farming, and they have their own little communities that they are part of, and frankly, that's going to be really popular. The Amish are leading the way. But my main point is that they're going to end up doing that. And there's obviously going to be larger and larger groups of people that are going to require government assistance. And frankly, the wealthy that are making all this additional money are the ones that are going to foot that bill because they're the only ones with money. And we'll go with that. But I think that's a very dangerous play I don't think that goes well for us, and I don't think it ends well for us. So for any business owners out there that are listening to me, that are hearing this, I would extol you to join the rebellion. Don't fire your customer service people and bring on AI. Don't fire your graphic design people. Don't fire your accountants or any of those people and bring on AI. Figure out a way to keep your people employed. And figure out a way to make your business make money while still doing that. And it's going to be tough, but it's the right thing to do. And we should do it for the right reasons. Being in business just to make money is a terrible thing to do. It's a terrible way to live. Being in business to create something genuinely awesome and to support your people while doing it, to love your neighbor while doing it, that's worthy of your cause. So that would be my recommendation. And for all of those out there who are thinking to yourself, well, ChatGPT is not going to take my job, think really long and hard about what you provide. And think to yourself, what's stopping AI from learning how to do that? And take that for what it's worth. All right, guys, not to be down and in the dark about this. Comment below if you think I'm wrong. Give me another idea. Give me some thoughts. Maybe there'll be a large enough rebellion that it'll stop itself in its tracks. Maybe AI will poison itself with its own, with the dead internet theory, which frankly is an interesting point. Maybe there's going to be something else I missed. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about this? Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for checking in, and subscribe. Be part of this. We love this. We want you to definitely be part of the company and the team. So go and buy your product. If you need some help, if you're curious about the product, if you want to know more, you can reach out to us below at the contact form at the bottom of our webpage. Anna Jo is the one that reads those, our human friend. Anna does a lot around here, actually. So you can go to the main page of the website at murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co. And you can use the contact form there. You can also give us a phone call at 414-434-9001. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. 414-434-9001. You can call or text us. And if you call us and it sounds like a real person is talking to you, it's because a real person is talking to you. If you text us and it takes a little while for us to get back to you, it's because a real person has to read that text message after they finish what they're doing and then send you a text message back. So live in the joy of that, knowing that the reason why it takes a second for us to respond to you is because we're real people and we're going to get you real answers. We really do want to help. If you don't get a hold of us, leave a voicemail. We'll get you a call back. If you love our product, leave us a review. It helps us. You can go to murdycreative.co/review. If you hate our product, give us an opportunity to make things right before you leave us a bad review. We genuinely want you to be happy. We want you to love the product. We want you to feel like it was a good decision to buy it. That was a good deal, that you love what you have. And so because of that, if any of those things aren't true, give us an opportunity to fix it. Give us an opportunity to make it right. And if you want to go read our reviews, you can go to murdycreative.co/reviews with an S to go check out the page where we showcase all of those. We really appreciate that. If you're looking for a custom engraved item, we have no minimum order quantities, no setup fees. It's a simple flat fee, normally per item. You can launch the customizer by going and clicking on the blue button that says Add Custom Logo Engraving on most of the product pages. If you don't see that custom engraved button, reach out to us via email. We'll be happy to create a custom mockup as well as a custom order link for you. Not everything is in the customizer. We're still working on that. It just takes a bunch of time to do it. So if you want to get a bunch of items for any reason, for yourself because you're awesome, or for your company because you're awesome, the bulk discounts begin at quantity 5 and go up from there. You can mix and match to your heart's desire. Just add all the items you want to your cart. It'll auto-apply the correct bulk discount, and you can check out from there. And if you need any help with that, we're always here to help. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.